Module 4, Lesson 18, we're going to continue with writing expressions, but now we're going to move into looking at word problems and showing that we are able to write expressions that represent the answer to the question they're asking. So the first thing we want to look at is how can we show a number increased by 2? So a number right here is another way of saying a variable. And so we're going to pick n, and then increased is addition, and 2. So n plus 2 is a number increased by 2. Now, can we prove this using a model? And yes, we can. So here is a number. If we increase by 2, we put 2 boxes at the end. Here's my n. Here's my 2, and we are adding it on. Now, we wanted to give an example. We could say, what if n equals 6 and 6 increased by 2 would be 6 plus 2, which gives you 8. So we could even plug a little 6 in, that'd be 6 plus 2. So that's that idea. Moving down here, it says, read the variable in the table and improve the description given, making it more specific. So Joshua's speed, let J represent Joshua's speed. Complete description with units. So the key here is that your description matches or is a measurable thing. And so the description in units, we would say it's Joshua's speed. And we can just say he's in a car, and we would say miles per hour. And then we have Rufus's height. Let R represent Rufus's height. This isn't enough because we need to know what are we measuring it by. And we can say inches. And you would say speed, and you'd say height in inches. Let M represent the amount of milk sold, and we're going to say the number of gallons sold. And Colleen's time in the 40-meter hurdles, let C represents Colleen's time. And this would be time in seconds, because if she's running 40 meters is really short, we'd want to measure it in seconds. And then we have Sean's age, and what do we measure age in? And this could be age in years. You could say age in months. You could even say age in days. All of that would work just fine. Carolyn's CDs, and they show here, it represents the number of CDs Carolyn has. And then we have Joshua's merit badges. J represents Joshua's merit badges. And it represents how many badges Joshua has. Rufus's trading cards. R represents Rufus's trading cards, where really let R represent the number of trading cards. And then milk money, M represents the amount of milk money, where let M represent the amount in dollars of milk money. Now, what we're going to go to now is we're going to begin to look at the way that we can demonstrate the expression, the evaluation, and showing your work to answer word problems. So let's go ahead and look at these first two examples. Greg has $2 more than his brother Jeff. So $2 more is plus 2. Now, what people often want to do is they want to say G plus 2. But that's not true because Greg has this. So has means equal. We have Greg equals, because of the has, $2 more than Jeff. So that's Jeff plus $2 is Greg. So let J represent Jeff's money. So you have Jeff's money plus $2. Then you say, all right, Jeff has $12. So then our expression was J plus 2. And so we took J equals 12, because remember, has is equals. And you could say 12 plus 2 is 14. You could say Greg has $14. We're going to do the same thing down here. We have Greg has, again, equals. So this is Greg has more dollars than his brother Jeff. But now they're saying, all right, you want to show G. So let G represent Greg's money in dollars. Well, then if G has to be in my equation, then I have to look at this and I say, okay, I take what Jeff has and I add 2, and that gives me what Greg has. But if we're going to go backwards, so backwards of this would be subtracting 2. And so that's where we get Greg minus 2. You also could say that Jeff is equal to whatever Greg has minus 2. And if Greg has $14, we would take G equals 14. And that's 14 minus 2, that's 12, and that tells you Jeff has $12. So let's go ahead and do this first example. And you're going to follow these exact same steps. We're going to do it one way, same problem, do it the other way, and then solve it. Abby read, so we have Abby read 8 more books than Kristen. So 8 more books than Kristen in the first marking period. Write an expression for the number of books Abby read. So the number of books Abby read means that they want us to say A equals. So we're going to say, we don't need to worry about what A equals. We need to see in our expression. So we're going to say let K represent the number of books Kristen read. And then you can show K plus 8. And then Kristen read 9 books in the first period, so that means K equals 9. So you're going to have K plus 8. Then you're going to plug in the 9 for K plus 8, and that's 17. And then you can say that Abby read 17 books. So now let's go to this question, the same question, just asking for a different expression. It says, Abby read 6 more books than Kristen in the second marking period. So again, Abby read 6 more books than Kristen. Write an expression for the number of books Kristen read, which means we have to say K equals something. So Kristen is equal to, well, I have up here 6 plus Kristen. But my equation would say that Abby equals 6 plus Kristen. But they want us to say, well, what if I need to know what Kristen has? And so if I look up here, I say, okay, if I'm finding Abby's, I add 6 to it. But now I want to do Kristen, so I'm going to have to undo the adding 6 to it. So what I'm going to have to do is subtract 6 to get that, and then you have Abby minus 6. So this is my expression. When you know what Abby has, and you take 6 away, you get Kristen's. And so what we know is we need to say let A represent Abby. Abby's books read. These should actually be in the other order. And then it tells me Abby read 20 books. So A equals 20. Now I solve it. I have A minus 6. I take my A equals 20, plug it in, minus 6 gives me 14. And so I can say that Kristen read 14 books. Another situation here. We have Daryl has been teaching for 1 year longer. So Daryl has, that's B equals 1 year longer, that's plus 1, than Julie. So Julie plus 1. Write an expression for the number of years that Daryl has been teaching. So that means they want us to have an equation for Daryl or equals. So J represents how long Julie has worked. And then my expression is right here. We have J plus 1. Julie has been teaching for 28 years. That means Julie is 28. My expression is J plus 1. I take 28 plus 1. I get 29, which means Daryl has taught for 29 years. Next one. Ian scored, so this is Ian equals 4 fewer goals. Fewer goals is the same as the less than, and so that means I'm going to take 4 away from something, and Julia. And so Julia then is what goes in front. They say write an expression for the number of goals Ian scored. So that's going to be an I equals. So I'm going to use this expression because I want the I equals, which is what my original statement showed me. And so I'm going to say let J represent the number of goals Julia made. And then my expression is J minus 4. Julia made 13 goals, so J equals 13. So my expression is J minus 4. Plug in my value, and I get 9. And so that means that Ian scored 9 goals. And you could even put an I equals, and so then I equals, and then Ian equals 9. And so you get that. Now, at this point, I would like you to solve the next 2 for me to check them to see whether you can move on to the problem set on your own or if you need to spend more time with me practicing writing expressions that represent word problems.